The first thing the class noticed about the human girl was how small she looked. She stood at the threshold of lecture chamber 12, with her hands behind her back and her dark hair tied into a tight braid. The chamber was built for 12 species. Tiered platforms supported quadrupeds. Grav perches lined the upper walls for avians. Moisture basins rested along the lower ring for amphibious scholars. The air shimmered with adaptive atmosphere fields calibrated to a careful average. She did not shimmer. She breathed the common air without assistance. Professor Threxel of the Valoran Combine adjusted his mantle frills and gestured her forward. His voice carried through the translation lattice class. This is Mara Kovac, exchange candidate from Sol 3. You will treat her as you would any fellow scholar. Murmur moved through the chamber. Sol 3. Eartha, Deathworld Mora, walked down the central aisle. Her boots struck the gravestone floor with soft, steady sounds. Several students shifted away. The Virexian twins folded their defensive spines flat. Cathari released a faint stressed pheromone that only his own species could sense, though the chamber monitors recorded it. Mara chose a seat at mid-tier and sat with straight posture. She smiled. By human standards it was warm and friendly. By galactic standards it revealed forward-facing predator eyes and exposed bone. Professor Threxel began the lecture on environmental resilience theory. A holographic display rose above the chamber, showing planetary hazard indexes. Most sentient species arose on category 2 through 4 worlds. Moderate gravity, stable climates, predictable food webs. Then the display shifted to a red sphere marked with warning glyphs. Category 9 environments are statistically incompatible with complex civilization, he said. Mara raised her hand. The chamber stilled. Mara respectfully. Professor, Earth is classified as 9.2. Soft clicking sounds passed between several species. An outlier, he replied. We prefer overachiever, she said. Confusion flickered across several faces. Humor did not always translate. Weeks passed. Mara excelled in gravitational mathematics and structural engineering. Her designs included layers of redundancy that some called excessive. Simulation models proved them efficient and remarkably durable. Still, many classmates kept their distance until the day the containment alarm sounded. The academy trembled as warning tones erupted. Emergency glyphs flared across the walls. Atmospheric pressure shifted. All students remain in place. Containment breach in Xenobiology Wing. Security en route, but Xenobiology Wing was adjacent to Lecture Chamber 12. The rear door buckled inward. Metal shrieked. Something forced its way through. It was a caudal predator, imported for study. 8 limbs plated in chitin, thick as hull armor. Sensory fronds whipped through the air. Mandibles capable of cutting reinforced alloy. On its home world, it hunted creatures the size of transports. It had never faced resistance like this. Students scattered. Avian scholars launched upward. Virexians deployed spines. Cathari secreted toxin that failed against the creature's filtration system. The Corthal roared. One Dravix student froze. His grav harness flickered. Under stress, the predator lunged. Mara moved later. Analysis would show she crossed the chamber in less than 2 seconds. Earth gravity was nearly twice that of the Academy world. For her, this environment felt light. She slammed into the Dravix student and shoved him aside. The Corto limb crashed down where he had been. The floor fractured. Mara rolled and rose. The predator refocused on her to charge again. Most species would have fled. Mara stepped forward. She ducked inside the reach of snapping mandibles and drove her shoulder into the joint of its foremost limb. On Earth, humans learned to grapple larger threats. She twisted the joint. It cracked and destabilized. The Corthal recoiled in shock. It struck her sideways. She slammed into a platform and fell hard. One arm bent wrong. The creature advanced, dragging its injured limb. Mara pushed herself up. Pain lined her face, but her eyes stayed sharp. "Shu picked the wrong classroom," she said. The Corthal lunged Mara, grabbed a fallen grav harness and activated it manually. She overrode its calibration and hurled it onto the predator. The device latched and wind gravity increased. Corthal crashed to the floor under multiplied weight. The gravstone split beneath it. It thrashed, but could not rise. Adjusted the harness output further. The creature's own mass became its prison chitin, fractured under pressure. Security forces entered with plasma lances raised. They halted at the site. The predator lay pinned. Mara stood over it, breathing hard blood. Along her sleeve, containment breach resolved, she said. She collapsed. Medical teams worked quickly. Human physiology responded stubbornly. Bone stabilized. Internal bleeding controlled within 2 days. Mara argued with a medic about sustained trauma, equivalent to heavy transport collision. The medic said, "I have had worse during rugby," she replied. No one knew rugby, but it sounded dangerous when she returned to class. The atmosphere felt different. Students did not retreat. They watched. The Dravik student approached first. "You risked termination for me," he said. "Seemed right." She answered, "You are smaller than the Corthal. Most things are bigger than me. Does not mean they win soft." Amusement rippled through the chamber. "Professor," Threxel addressed, "the class council review has concluded. Humanity classification revised from hazardous but fragile to hazardous and resilient." Mara tilted her head. "We prefer adaptably, of course," he said. He turned to the class. "Environmental resilience theory must evolve. A species forged in extremity internalizes adversity. Humans are not monsters. They are products of a monstrous environment." Rhea raised her hand again. "We also cooperate," she said. "The Corthal did not lose because I am brave. It lost because humans solve problems with tools, teamwork, and stubbornness, mostly stubbornness as time." Laughter filled the chamber in light pulses, vibrations, and septum. The weeks that followed, classmates sought her out. They asked about storms that swallowed cities, about predators with venom, about microbes that forced medical innovation. They learned about exploration driven by curiosity, not comfort. Mara learned from them as well. She studied Virexian, communal defense, Draviks, gravitational art, Cathari, bioarchitecture. That healed itself. She did not dominate. She integrated. Her final thesis presentation filled the chamber. Adaptive infrastructure, combining human redundancy with multi-species calibration. Her conclusion was clear. Most civilizations arise in comfort. Humanity arose in chaos. That does not make us superior, it makes us experienced. When the universe becomes difficult, you want someone who grew up. Difficult silence held the room then. Approval surged through vibration, light, and resonance. The classroom had welcomed a girl it expected fragility, feared a monster it found a human, and the universe would not forget that lesson. Asterisk.